Bam! There we are. There we are, guys. It is Sunday. It is Sunday. This means another episode of A Drink with Brink, where I talk with other indie creators about their lives and their goals and their dreams and their books and their campaigns. Because I am done with the mainstream, guys. The mainstream is boring. It sucks. And indie is where the passion is. I hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday. My Sunday has been busy. I've been setting up my Rumble channel thingy. I still have things to learn, so it's not perfect. I have to fill in some things, add things. But the first live stream on Rumble is a fact right now. So we're casting on Rumble. Also, we're broadcasting on Rumble. So if you're watching from Rumble, hello and thank you very much. Okay, guys, and the campaign. So update for the campaign for Perfect 10 issue 4, which is now live on Indiegogo. We reached over 80% funded. So today we went over 80% funded, guys, and I want to thank all of you for backing and for sharing and for talking about this campaign, for helping us make this happen. You know, without you, we can't do anything, right? We call ourselves independent, but we depend on you guys. So thank you so much for the support. Okay. Calm down. We're having a new guest today, a new wonderful guest. And we have Mike in the chat, by the way. Mike, hello, Mike. A good Sunday to Dave and all. Cheers. Welcome, Mike. Nice to see you. I hope your day is going well. Welcome. Now I have to move over to Rumble to keep an eye on the chat. I don't know if I can see everything through StreamYard. I think so. I think I'm a noob. I'm a Rumble noob, guys. So bear with me. Okay. All right. And Avalyn. Sorry, I mispronounced your name. Avely Music. Welcome, Avely Music. And CH is also here. Welcome, CH. Thanks for introducing me to some great unknown campaigns, Dave. You're very welcome. Yesterday we had the look at my book stream, which we do every 2 weeks. I do it together with Pump Spec, and we browse like random campaigns and just so we give people a glimpse of what's out there. So welcome everyone, nice to see you. Okay, it's time for the guest, guys. It's time to bring on the guest, a new guest to the show with a rather interesting campaign. So I'm so glad you wanted to be on today. So let's have a very warm welcome for Richard from Iron Age Media.
Thank you for having me. It's good to get to talk to you and say hello to everybody.
Welcome, Richard. Welcome. How are you, man? How are you today? Busy?
Yeah, busy. It's been such a busy day that I I almost missed a meeting that I had scheduled with somebody else, and fortunately they were able to bump it back by about half an hour or so. So it worked out. It worked out.
Oh, so the meeting is after this stream, so we can't.
No,
go
it's before. I already wrapped it up. So thank goodness
right.
for that.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Before Mike tells me I have the ticker ready, Mike, I have the ticker ready. So let me show it here. There we go.
Very nice.
Everything is very professional here, as you can tell, Richard.
Yeah. See, I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I use Streamlabs, and
Okay.
I think theoretically there's more control to it,
Mm.
but only if you know what you're doing. So, and I certainly don't.
Yes, that goes with most things. When you know what you're doing, it's rather easy, right? Right. Okay. Where are you from, Richard?
I'm out of Houston, Texas, enjoying the still sweltering heat and humidity down here as it usually is. So it's been a long summer. I'm ready for it to get below searing temperatures.
Right. This is like end of the world temperatures. After one.
No, just
believe.
like end of exercise outdoors temperatures.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
right. Yes. Yes. All right. Apollos Arts is here. Welcome, Paulus Arts. Welcome, sir. And
howdy,
we have, and we have Immortal Rising comic book. Welcome, sir.
Hey, I was gonna say he should be here because he's got one of the comics in the second issue. So.
Oh, great. All right. Yes. Okay. Before we talk about you and about the campaign, there's this question that I have to ask my guests. What are you drinking?
I will be drinking coffee whenever it is
it's ready,
wrapped up. Yeah, it's currently, I think the water's boiling.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Okay. Oh, old fashioned. You still?
Yeah, we do the French press. It's
okay.
It's like the cheapest way to get the best coffee is what we've kind of settled on.
Okay. Yes. Nowadays you can make coffee within 2 seconds, right? But it's like the patience, like waiting for something that adds to the experience, right? Mm-hmm. The same with crowdfunding. You have to wait for the book a little longer, but once you get it, the experience is much better.
Exactly. You can go for the K-cups that are on Netflix, but they aren't good and they poison you with microplastics. Probably, I don't know for sure. I'm just making things up.
All right. So, Richard, are you a comic book? Are you a comic book reader? A comic book fan?
Yes, I'm a comic book reader. Although most of my background with comics has been a lot of the older stuff. So, like, I've read a bunch of the Golden Age Avengers comics and things like that, and and then some of the Judge Dredd, from like the 80s and whatnot, and then just kind of a smattering of things here and there. I'm not necessarily like I'm certainly not a comic collector. You know what I mean? I'm not compared to what I would say a lot of people are in the heyday of when Marvel and DC, well, mainly Marvel, were still making competent movies. I was kind of engaged, but not so much. It was kind of like I got to Civil War and I thought that was interesting, but since then I've consumed very, very little in terms of mainstream comics.
Right, since the movies, you mean?
Yeah, since the movies really hit their stride. Okay. And then in terms of indie comics, I've poked around, you know what I mean, and I've supported a few people, but I'm definitely not as well. Comics are like kind of my weakest point within the mediums that we're handling through Iron Age Media and whatnot is that I just don't have as much of a
it's just
background
part
with
of
it.
it,
You know what I
part
mean?
of Iron Age.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
By the
there's
way,
quite a bit of
one sec,
short fiction.
Richard. I have to say hi to Frederick Guimont. I think you pronounce it Guimont, Frederick Guimont. Welcome, sir. Looking forward to this conversation. Welcome. And JVP Music. JVP Music, welcome.
Hey, JVP. Always good to see him.
Sorry about that, Richard.
Oh, no problem.
So Iron Age Media is
It's my website. It's a website that I started last year,
Mhm.
and kind of the product that grew out of that was Anvil magazine, and it is, I would say, the backbone or the primary content just based on page count within Anvil is short fiction, right? So it's a mix of short fiction, illustrated short fiction, and then comics. So it's a pretty good blend. The second issue is 120 pages, I think, is what it's shaken out to. 116. So, well, okay, 116 interior pages, and then the covers and cover interior. So out of that, we've got something like let me do the math here. Something like 30 pages of comics and about a dozen pages of illustrations and whatnot. So it's got quite a bit of content to it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Anvil is so you have your comic book like branch or interest.
So the website itself is really just a way for people to promote and connect various things. There's also prompts for short fiction authors who want to try and just put something out there real quick.
Okay.
Try working
Right.
to a very short timeline. There's some art prompts; those don't get as much engagement, but I have gotten some great stuff. And in fact, one of the things that I include in Anvil is some of the prompt submissions. And so, one of these is somebody actually did a single page comic to one of the text prompts, and I enjoyed it. And so it's going into the second issue. So there's a way into Anvil through ironage.media. Most of the content is not previously published. It's almost all new. You know what I mean? But I want to kind of support the community and the creators that are supporting ironage.media.
Okay. So what made you set up Iron Age Media?
Well, the website came about because of a video that Razorfist put out, and he was talking about he was speaking more specifically about comics, but also kind of leaned out into other mediums. And he was talking about how there's been Comicsgate, and then with the Rippaverse ISO #1 success at the time, he was saying that there's this growing movement of people who are not necessarily just critiquing culture, not just tearing down the mainstream, but are also building these other things, and they're starting to see real success. And he termed it the Iron Age because it's a return to a more perhaps a more rudimentary style in some regards. Like there might not be every single thing quite so polished and worn down, or in the case of literature, pre-chewed practically. But it's solid. It's got good bones. It's solid. It's actually interesting, and it's bringing things to market that you're never going to find anywhere else. And he was talking about building a who in the video, I believe he says, who's going to create the non-woke IGN, who's going to run the non-commie Reddit or whatever. And I heard that and I was like, okay, well, I was busy at the time with a different project, and I was like, well, that maybe I'll see who tries to do that and I'll try to help them. And then when nobody seemed to have jumped on it after about a month, I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and just try it. And it was just sort of like a little snowball that started rolling down a hill.
Mhm.
And so that's the origin of the site. It's really just been very organic in terms of its growth. And I keep building on. I'm going through a refactor on the site right now because it is like painfully outdated in a lot of ways. It started out as what was supposed to be a very sprightly little single page application. It's bloated and has a lot of problems now, but it still is functional. And
Mhm.
then whenever the year, at the end of the year, I was looking for, what else can I do? And it seemed like there was a lot of excitement behind the short fiction, within the communities that were writing short fiction, and then maybe some comics. And so that's when I was like, well, maybe I could do a magazine. And that's how this whole thing got started.
Right. Yes. When I first heard of Anvil, I thought it was during your first book.
Mm-hmm.
I first thought it was a magazine in the sense that it covered news about
Yeah.
Iron Age media, comics, games, movies, whatever, right? But this is an actual book with comics that are
Yes,
made
evergreen. It's meant
specifically
to
for
have
this
like evergreen
magazine.
content primarily,
Right. Yes. Yes. So what are I see some guidelines, right? But is there some sort of
Well,
theme to
go
people?
through on right now. This is another problem that I have is that right now I kind of have like a catch-all page for you know
Mm,
anything that if you click through that Indiegogo link in the "Can I Still Buy" issue number 2, um,
that this.
it'll take you
Mhm,
to the campaign that's still live, and it has a bunch of examples of the content.
mhm,
But one thing that I haven't done yet is fully build out a store for direct sales and really displaying what's in the issues. Um, the uh, there are some reviews in there, but it's primarily aimed, to be evergreen content. And yeah, it is definitely influenced by Heavy Metal Magazine.
mhm,
It's one of these things where if I had enough money on hand and had the circulation to do it, I would probably put a little bit more illustration into it. But some of the um, there have been some iterations of Heavy Metal Magazine that were more pulp than comics. So it's short fiction and comics have not been necessarily uh, something that's never been done together before. So I think
mhm,
it's a hopefully a good. I don't know. It seems like people are very excited about it, and um, I think a lot of people are hungry just for interesting stories, and you can get a good feel for an author and their ability to deliver something just with short fiction.
Right, right. This so your focus is on short stories. These have to be complete stories, short stories.
Yeah,
But
they need to be standalone. There's been a lot
standalone,
of
yeah.
people talking about serializing things,
Mhm,
but my inclination is, and I mean, and I understand, but if you buy the magazine, I think the goal should be to have a standalone product. You know what I mean? It's not something where I'm totally opposed to having a series of stories about the same characters, but each one of those stories needs to be complete in itself. And it's not like I'm dragging people into buying 4 issues of the magazine to find out what the story is.
mhm. Right. Yes. Yes. There's also the problem with crowdfunded books. It often takes a while to the next book, right?
Hmm.
So you don't want to drag it on for too long. Um,
Hmm.
I see you have things like music. You have so this is this art these articles. What What is this?
Well,
this,
these are articles that mostly people have sent in to me. You know, TJ Marquis has been doing his Indie Scan, which is a fun little YouTube series that he's putting out every Friday, and those, you know, cover what's going on and what's new in the world of indie. Some of these are self-promotional articles, some of them are reviews, some of them are just kind of like site updates from me. It's just a little bit of everything. It's one of these things where I'm going to be trying to push harder on the website to get more articles up, but you know, it's a little bit of a plate spinning act, you know what I mean? With the magazine and everything else.
Yes, I can imagine. John A. Douglas, welcome, sir. Reporting you from the Twitter gulag. Yeah, John was banished from Twitter for some reason.
Hopefully not permanently.
No, sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah.
By the way, John, did you submit a short story to Iron Age Media?
He did in fact submit something for issue number 3 of Anvil. Yes.
Oh, cool. Issue number 3 is in the works.
Excellent. Yeah, that was boy, I don't know how many emails, but probably in excess of at least 40 emails that I need to respond to for people on feedback, because overall there were, I think, about 125 submissions, and for the third issue, just in terms of fiction, and had about a half dozen comics. So it was a very, very competitive third issue in terms of what's getting in. And I mean, each issue. So like the first issue, like I love the first issue. It's fantastic. The feature story, Fleet of Theseus, is, in my opinion, it stands up to you know, any of the other like speculative short sci-fi that's out there. And I love it. But the second issue is just absolutely like chock full of good content. It has like, almost 3 times as much, about 3 times as much comics. You know, it has more illustrations. It's just more of everything. And I you know, like it's going to be excellent. So, and fortunately, I was able to get the proof done while I was on vacation. So once I came back, I was able to lay hands on it. So
that's a great feeling, right?
Oh yeah, it's always good whenever you're like, yes, it's real. It's actually happening.
It exists. Yeah. Welcome, Bristolian Dave. All right, me babbers. Welcome, Dave. So yeah, so people know they know to find you now. They find you now.
Yeah,
they know about this.
Yeah, anybody who has a project who's in the audience and you want to do a self-promotional article, or if you are somebody who likes to do reviews, reach out to me. I'm always very interested in trying to, you know, get as many people, you know, get eyes on as many people as possible, because I think there's a lot of potential for everybody working together and getting things moving and building each other up.
So how did you do it with issue 1? When you first started, you had to get content, right? So
So for the first issue, I didn't know what I was doing at all. Not that I'm going to say that I do now, but I started out with a similar sort of kind of rough set of guidelines, which was, you know, send me short fiction between, I think I said 2,500 and 7,500 words. And we had about, I think we had about 30 submissions, right? And then a few that didn't quite fall in there. And so the first issue, like it has some things that I'm not sure if any future issue will have, namely the RPG. There's like a little kind of like choose your own adventure RPG section, which is very interesting. but my God, it was it was awful to format. I can say that my designer Jacob Kalta and I like pulled our hair out trying to get that thing laid in properly. So there was just all sorts of interesting stuff. I think that we had, I think 8 fiction authors, and then Razorfist reached out and asked if I'd be interested in printing the preview for Ghost of the Badlands.
Mhm.
And so that was a kind of an 11th hour edition, and I had taken the money that I had initially set aside for comics and rolled that into art to get more of the stories illustrated. Because at first I was just thinking, well, I'll have like 1 or 2 comics and then just straight short fiction and not have any illustrations except for the cover done.
Mhm.
And what it's kind of turned into is, I mean, it's definitely a little bit more expensive way of doing things, but I think it's a lot better for the consumer at the end of the day. So, we had some excellent work done by, let's see here. I mean, the Ghost of the Badlands preview looks excellent in print. And then I was going to show some of the work from like Eric Nienoltowski, who
It's,
you might, I don't know if you're familiar with him or not. This one,
yes.
but an illustration from one of the stories there. That's the Affair of the Unquiet Grave. And, he's got several other pieces in the, associated with that story. And then Jozan from Jozan Art. The first issue has a lot of great stuff. And then the second issue has, let's see here. I mean, we've got Immortal Rising comics there. And then the extremely, like the Crom the Destroyer, RJ Shaw. I think you spoke with him at one point in time a while back. But, we've got some stuff from him with Morning Light.
Oh, look at that. Cool,
I
man.
mean, just what was that?
I said cool.
Yeah. And these are just really, excellent pieces. I'm very excited about getting this into people's hands, and it's very close to getting printed. So, or it's printing now, presumably.
Beautiful. So the website is some sort of hub. So it leads to various YouTube channels and other websites, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Some familiar titles also here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Great. Yeah, it's a lot of work. You have a chat with Razorfist.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable to get to sit down and talk to Razor about the Nightville series. And then I was fortunate enough to sit down with him and George Alexopoulos about Ghost of the Badlands. So it's been a real fun time.
Mm-hmm. This looks awesome also. Babylon Black.
Yes, cool. I think that that was who is it? It's Kitsun Shia. I'm trying to remember. I apologize. But I believe that got funded and went out a while back, but I'm not sure. There's too many things going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Too many things. Yeah. Yes. Wow. Look at this, man. You have a lot of content here.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. Guys, the link to this page is in the description of the video. You can browse everything, check it out. Fantastic, man. All right. It's quite the endeavor. And now you have the crowdfunding campaign for issue 2, and you have enough content to make issue 3, right?
Yep. Yeah. I just need to scrounge up enough money from advertising and selling selling issues that I printed that haven't been purchased yet, so that I can afford the art for the 3rd issue. So, but that's going to happen. It's just a matter of time, So
right. Right. Fantastic. Okay. Let's dive into the campaign. And before we do that, as always, we have a little uh, advertisement break. October. It said October.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I should have it. I should have everything I need. I'm not sure if I'm going to have the magazines first or the mailers first, but I should have everything by Thursday. And um, this weekend is
mhm.
going to be this coming weekend is going to be a frenetic packing weekend. So
Yes. Prepare yourself. Oh,
yes.
wow. Okay. Anvil Iron Age magazine issue 2. Excellent. So this is basically you can do this forever as long as you get funded, right? You can.
Hmm.
The plan is to keep on doing this, or
Yeah. So we've sold between let's see here, Fund My Comic and Indiegogo. It was about a little over 12K, and um,
Mhm.
there are about 330 or so, 350 issues sold. So uh, that's probably on the like low end of viability for what I want to keep doing. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh,
You have to
but
scale it
I
up.
think that yeah, I think that things are going to continue to accelerate. I
Mhm.
you know was still fulfilling issue number one whenever issue number two started launching. So
Mhm.
there were there's a little bit of a, shall we say, turbulence with
Yes.
the kickoff for this one. So I think between direct sales and then for issue number three, I'm going to start offering subscriptions on an annual basis
Okay.
and things like that. I'm quite confident that we're going to be able to keep this thing rolling for the foreseeable future. Because I mean, really, the thing about uh, the Iron Age, about the indie movement at large, is that there's so much talent and so many interesting people who are really working out there that it's not hard to find people who are going to be able to help you produce a good product.
Mhm.
And I think the real trick is just letting people know, like making sure that there's people out there who know that this thing exists, because there are I think there's a much larger market than is currently
Yes.
being utilized.
I think it may help you that with there are a lot of talent involved in producing this magazine, right?
Hmm.
So, and all of them are basically ambassadors for this magazine. And next issue you have new authors, new
Hmm.
artists, and they can all
Yes.
help you spread the word about this.
Yeah.
Um,
And I mean, it's really, I've kind of taken it as being like a path to ease the people who are interested in the indie sphere, who want to find content that they don't know, where to go exactly. Well, you
mhm,
can go and buy Anvil magazine, and every every 3 months you will get a not only a big pile of content that is enjoyable, made by people who don't hate you. It's also going to be a bunch of little windows into different sub movements and
mhm,
communities and things like that, and authors and artists and all this other stuff. And it will allow people, hopefully, to say, wow, I really enjoyed, I enjoyed Fleet of Theseus from the first issue, or I really enjoyed Baphomet's Child from the second issue. And you look
mhm.
into these things and you're like, oh, um, this person doesn't just have this one, piece of content that they've published. They actually have a whole host of other things. And even if it's just a Substack or a YouTube channel where they do reviews or where they post their stories piecemeal, it's like you can at least then go and connect with that person and find out that they have more. And even if, it's just all part of that getting people into the rabbit hole to begin with,
Yes. Yes. So this is a nice looking logo. Who designed your logo?
It's a fellow who goes by the Spaceman. It's Philip, and then I don't ever use his last name, so I'm gonna have to look real quick. Rosetta,
Man.
and I think I just realized that there might be a mistake here. You gotta love whenever you look at your proof and realize there's a mistake that you didn't catch.
Oh yes. Oh no.
Anyway. Hopefully minor detail. Anyway, the
live. This happened live here.
I know. It's like live frustration. Anyway, but he's a fantastic guy. He designed or did a redesign of the site logo for me for Iron Age .media. And
right, yes.
He has his own webcomic that he's been doing, as well as some other work. But yeah, I love the Anvil look. It was kind of I had like this concept in mind, and I was like, and then he started doing some things. So I was like, what if we put the A and that together? And it was like he was actually looking at something differently than what I was, and he came up with this. It was just perfect. So yes, I'm very happy with it.
Did you come up with the name, which is brilliant, by the way?
Well, thank you. And I came up with Anvil. It was literally the first thing that I thought of for the magazine. And then I looked, and if you go and search the Anvil, there's an old commie rag that was from the 1920s called the Anvil. And, it's the usual kind of workers, whatever kind of stuff. And, of course it went out of business. And it's one of these things where I was like, okay, well, I got to think of something else, because there's literally already a magazine right there. And I was like, I'm just going to chop the off of it. Just call it Anvil Iron Age Magazine. That's plenty unique. And I'm just going to, go from there, because it works. And now, instead of if somebody searches, hopefully in a year or two, if somebody searches the Anvil, they won't have any kind of commie propaganda pop up. They're going to have this instead, and their lives will be better for it.
Double whammy. Fantastic.
Yes.
Anvil. It's a good name, because it's the Iron Age, and we shape the future of entertainment, right? So perfect name. Nice cover art. This is from one of the stories, I presume, the Prowler of Black Square. Blog. You pronounce it blog.
Or blog. Yeah, there's no accent. I asked the author, and it's just BLAGH.
I always butcher English. All right. This is the main attraction. Don't miss the latest. By the way, you said something about people could perhaps in the future they could subscribe. You get like a new magazine every 3 months. So that's
going to start with issue number 3, which is going to be our spring 2024 issue. It's going to be out in February, essentially. I'm kind of rolling, I'm rolling the release rate back about 40 days or so, just because it's, frankly, because I was a little bit overwhelmed, and also because I realized that I'm going to be sitting right in the smack dab middle of holiday shipping season. Not only, trying to get things out, not only does like the cost of shipping everything increase during that time of year, also, on a vendor side, you've got to have things in earlier because there's more complications. And I went, you know what, we're just going to shift everything by about 40 days. And then from here on out, we'll maintain that schedule. And, you know, in the future, it will prevent us from landing smack on top of a holiday season whenever we're trying to do production. So,
yes, that's probably for the best. Yeah, but are you planning to do a campaign for every new book?
right now, so I'm torn because on one hand, I think that the best thing for customers in general, like crowdfunding, is only good for the customer in the sense that they get something that they never would have been able to get otherwise. In every other respect, you know, you are essentially putting your money on loan for a longer period of time. You know, it's a better offer for people to be able to just buy on demand, you know, whenever they want. And yeah, there's about a million different things named Anvil. But and there's even all sorts of different kinds of anvils. I've had a real education on blacksmithing. But anyway,
You had to look in.
yeah, but you know, the thing is that I do have a customer base existing on Fund My Comic and on Indiegogo. So until I see them just kind of drop off, or you know what I mean, like drop out of making it worthwhile to do a campaign, you know, even if I was only doing you know, like $500, the minimum sales, I still feel like that would be worthwhile to reach those people. So for now, there will be campaigns. They won't offer anything that isn't going to be available via a similar pre-order system run through the Iron Age Media shop, which is not up yet. It's just, you know, I'm not going to leave the websites until I think that there's just not enough return on investment.
Sure. So you move them through Indiegogo, Fund My Comic, but also in the future your own web store, right?
Yeah,
that's the plan. Okay, we have some previews of pages. This is from Solus City by Brian Asher and Batsky. Nice. This is a black and white comic.
Yes, it's all black and white.
Everything's black and white. Okay.
Yeah. Well, in this one, yes, it's kind of a cyberpunk style piece. It's from a I believe it sort of is following the stories of one of the characters from his novel that is also set in that sort of a sci-fi dystopian world.
All right. Cool. Baphomet's Child, Immortal Rising Tales. Oh, that's familiar.
Yeah. So this one is from Aaron over at Immortal Rising and Jose Garcia. It's just real beautiful piece there. And I love Jose Garcia's like use of very dramatic color and everything else. I think it's come out very, very nicely.
Yes, his art is spectacular, man. It's remarkable talent. Excellent work, man. Now you have Corpse Fishers, the Bonsai.
Yes.
Well, look at this color palette. This interesting style.
Yeah, this is much more of a digital painting. And it is a I would say it's much less traditional than the other two comics. But, you know, part of what I'm trying to do with Anvil is bring in some different styles and different things that people might not have necessarily taken a look at otherwise. And I think that this is I think the art is great. And I think the story is interesting. And I think that the bonsai has some very cool stuff. So hopefully people will enjoy it.
Look at this design of these helmets. That's pretty cool. So how many pages are these comics?
So let's see here. Solace City is 12. Baphomet's child is 8 or 7.
Okay.
7. And then Corpse Fishers is also 12.
All right. So it differs.
Mm-hmm.
The Prowler of Blag Square? Blag?
Yes. Blag. Yeah,
Blag.
we'll say Blag.
Blag. Micah Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Hotterdam. This is Hotterdam. This is nice art also, man.
Yeah. This is the obviously taken from the cover.
Mhm.
This is done by Jozan Art, and I used him for the cover on the first issue, and I really enjoy working with that guy. Very talented.
Yeah. It's really cool how these eyes light up and they have this blackness
Yeah, I loved it.
in between.
And
really cool.
yeah, that is indeed the creature that Sebastian, I'm trying to remember, or well, hold on, it is Sebastian. Yeah, Dr. Apostol goes to confront in Hotterdam.
Wow.
I have problems because I've read like 600,000 words worth of short fiction for the third issue, then narrowed those down, sent out acceptance emails, and then I shifted back into the second issue. It's only so much that my frail
to
brain
Brink and ANVIL, things begin to merge, and you
yeah,
get
exactly
which day you're living.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I am, but
The Morning Light by R.J. Shaw. All right.
Yes, and that will be that short story is actually going to be, I think, one of the kind of like campaign add-ons from his Crom the Destroyer campaign, but it won't be out until well after the exclusivity period for this. So that's there. And then he had Luke. Luke E. I don't remember what the pronunciation is on his artist's last name, but yeah, just this fantastic art. The first piece was done up, and I was like, "Hey, can we get another one?" And he was kind enough to work with me on that. And yeah, the art is wonderful in this one. The story is very much kind of like classic Might and Magic pulp. I love it.
Right. Beautiful. Now we have The Ghost of a Distant Star by J.D. Cohen. It's more futuristic.
Yeah, so this is actually kind of a vaguely paranormal sci-fi with a what amounts to sort of like a interstellar lawman sitting down on a train with a murderous ghost and engaging with it as it may be.
That's great. These concepts are cool, man.
That's the thing I love about the indie space, and what I love about short fiction in general. Comics. I don't get me wrong. I think that there's tons of excellent ideas in the comic space, but it's kind of one of these situations where, like, if you're going to make a comic, like that is a big time commitment. That is a big like financial commitment in a lot of ways. It's it can be very difficult to say, I'm going to throw this thing at the wall and see if it sticks. You know what I mean? And, I don't blame comic creators for that. It's just the reality of it. The more risk associated with something, the less you're willing to just go wild with it. So I think that one of the reasons why I've always had a real love for short fiction is that people can just sit down and play with an idea that is very very different, that you never see anywhere else, and they can be they can be such very cool concepts. Yeah,
this is I'm often amazed at all the creativity, right? Sometimes there are concepts and I'm like, why did I never thought of that? That's brilliant.
Talking about never thought of it, this is a very interesting story. It's kind of a post-Renaissance France with a bit of fantasy. Well, not a bit, but a very strong streak of fantasy elements in there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a young lady who's been sent to this town by the essentially the god of death and decay that she's pledged herself to. And you find out a little bit more about why and everything else. But some people will immediately think of Nurgle with this, but this is a I would say a much more kind of neutral, kind of a benefactor, more a maintainer of natural order in terms of these things. And so somebody is killing people in an unnatural way in this city, and she goes to determine what is happening and who's responsible.
Okay, mystery going on. Nice. And then you have a few.
Yes, the ones that are not illustrated. Flight of the Caged Bird is, I would say, kind of like your classic 1980s horror twist with like you got a teen couple in the car at makeout point or whatever is how it starts. So it's a very good one. I enjoy that one. Cruel Creation by TJ Marquis is a kind of a piece of kind of action horror sci-fi where it is taken from the perspective of a mutant, or I don't know if he uses that term in this version, but of a lab experiment. Essentially, this is a lab experiment that has become sentient and escaped, and so you follow it through that experience. Hey, there you go.
Welcome,
Campbell,
welcome, Andrew. Yeah, we were just talking about you.
Yes, only good things. Don't rewind. But then we have Blades Against Fear by Eric Waugh, and that is if you've read A Citadel of Seven Swords or The Citadel of Seven Swords by Eric Waugh, it follows Scarred through a new adventure. And so this is kind of what this is a good example of I'm talking about, where you're like, oh man, this is a fun short story. I wonder if this guy's done any more. Well, he's got a whole novel and it includes some of the same characters, but the short story itself is totally standalone.
Yes, brilliant, fantastic.
And we have the Shadowed. Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you have a lot more. The Shadowed Canal.
Yeah, we've got the Shadowed Canal. We're almost done. By Nate Chen. This is set in a fictional universe that he's actually been writing for the Iron Age media prompts for some time. But this is an original story, or a new story, with a husband and wife going to solve a mystery and encounter the Dark Lord of Saffron Canal. So it's I would call it kind of like a vaguely fantasy superpower-esque story. So it's a little bit different than usual.
That's good. And then King Kirby,
King Birdie. King Birdie is kind of like a gonzo horror, very short story from John Manfred Whiteskull, and it is. I don't want to give away too much, but it starts out with three teenagers just hanging out in their in one of their places doing some acid. So.
Okay, yeah, the best stories come from using stuff. Yeah, cool. Throne.
Yes, Throne by A.M. Harrison, and this is one of the Iron Age media prompt submissions. It was done in response to one of the image prompts for the site, and with that, there's essentially a necromancer that is going from place to place, dealing with things as he sees fit, and he encounters another acolyte of basically the the god of fire, as she's purifying a battlefield filled with death, and they have to resolve the thing that's wrong there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And then we have the chroniclers,
Yes.
and the frozen mountain.
Fountain. Yeah, and this is another image prompt submission. One of the very first ones, actually. And it's from Daniel P. Riley, who's also the editor for the first 2 issues. And it follows a trio of kind of interdimensional fantasy people who go from basically dimension to dimension, chronicling what's going on there and checking things out and looking around to and stuff like that. And they encounter a situation where time is not passing quite as it should.
Okay, interesting. A lot of interesting things. The Iron Age needs you. Beautiful, man. A lot of talented people working on this, and you have to manage it, man. That's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah,
you're doing great, man. It's
yeah,
looking good.
I'm trying to make sure that nobody's disappointed. Fortunately, everybody has been really great, whether it be the my team, like I said, Daniel P. Riley as the editor, Jacob Kalta for designer. All of the artists and authors have been wonderful, and even the customers. With the first issue, I screwed up on the international shipping situation, and like Critical Blast helped me out, and people were very understanding that I was like, if I'm losing more than $10, I'm going to have to send it to Critical Blast, and it's going to take a little bit longer, and there's I just got a message from somebody the other day, and they were like, should I have gotten my first issue yet? And I'm like, oh no. And so sure enough, I go through and pirate ship, and it says undelivered, and it's like, what do you mean? What does that mean? And I go to USPS, and it's like, it's circulating around somewhere. I'm like, what the?
Yes.
But instead of being mad, they were very understanding. Which if they were frustrated, I get it. But sometimes things just happen, and it's hard to, keep your finger on the pulse of every single order.
No, this happens, man. When you have this goes with crowdfunding. When you have like hundreds of packages that go out to the door, sometimes things just go missing or go a different way, or things just happen, man. But you're doing good. You're funded, right? So
yes, I'm fully funded, and everything's rolling. It's just a matter of getting everything spun up for the third issue and keeping all the plates in the air. So far, so good.
And people can also get the digital, I noticed.
Yes. Yeah, that was one thing. I'm very, in my mind, a magazine is a physical product. And I was trying to put as much quality into the physical product as possible, because if you really look at it with these kinds of small orders, you're really making just a couple pennies difference in terms of the quality on a single page. And because you don't have that huge volume, it doesn't add up as much. So, I really wanted everybody to get a physical first issue. And I was very adamant about that. And then I had enough people explain to me who are overseas, and they're like, man, this shipping is insane. I'm like, well, I can't do anything. Like, but I still want to support you. Okay, then, that makes a lot more sense. I'm going to offer digital mainly for, with the intent of just helping people out who can't get the physical. But I'm very focused in on trying to make sure the physical issue is the best it absolutely possibly can be,
Yes, of course. Paulus Art says I'll need to submit something sometime.
The next submission window for issue number 4 starts November 1st. There will be details about what kind of themes and other things I'm looking for by October 15th. So anvilmagazine.com. I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like, because right now it just redirects to another subpage on ironage.media. But I'll have details for you there. I would love to have I'd love to highlight all sorts of different people. The third issue, man, yeah, there's going to be some great stuff there. So
Excellent. So if there are authors and artists watching right now, they're interested in participating, they can go to the website, right?
mm-hmm.
And they will find all the information they need.
Yes, you can either go to ironage.media or anvilmagazine.com. So
Fantastic. Oh, okay, you have 167 backers. That's not bad, man. It's great.
mm-hmm.
167 backers. Okay, stop sharing. Excellent. Okay. Is there anything else that we need to know that we forgot to talk about, that we need to know about the campaign?
No,
about the book?
Man, not right now. It just
All right.
that I will be leaving this up. I'll be leaving the in demand up probably through the 30th at least, depending on. I still need to talk to my printer and see, what's the, what would the rate be if I wanted another 100 copies or something printed after he did the primary run. Depending on his response with that, it may be open into the first few weeks of October, just because I noticed whenever people start, posting their, hey, I got my Anvil magazine issue number 1. That was like one of the biggest demands for, where can I buy this? Where can I buy this? And by then the campaign had closed. So I'm gonna leave it open if I can, but if you want to grab it, try to grab it before September 30th.
Exactly. September 30th. Right. Excellent. Okay, guys, before we close this stream, I have to show everyone one more thing. So let's go to this page right here, because I have my own thing going on. I have Perfect 10 issue 4 on Indiegogo. It's funding. We are 81% funded right now. We're live for 3 days, so this is fantastic. Thank you all so much, guys. If you're not familiar with this series, so this is pure superhero. Actually, this has the 90s style. It has a fantastic story that I write. I've been working on this for a long time. I work together with Paul Rodriguez, who does the art, Daniel Rodriguez, who does the colors. It's all professional. It has two variant covers you can pick, or you can get them both. We have guest artists like Mike Bowden. You can see some interior works. It's lettered by Joel Saavedra. Everything looks professional. And we are mostly done with the books. We still need a lot of work to do. We have a lot to do still, but most of it is done, is behind us. So please, guys, if you can't back, please just share it out. Talk to other people about this campaign. And for everyone who backs to get this free mini poster of Gorgeous and Grotesque, we have some character commissions that you can get. The stretch goals come later, right? But please check it out. Thank you all so much for the support, guys. I had to show this because it's campaigning. That's what we do. So stop the screen. All right, Richard, thank you so much for being my guest today, sir, and showing us.
Thank you for having me on. It's been great.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And special thanks to the chat for everyone who showed up today. Thank you so much for watching and for sharing and for liking. If you like this conversation, give it a like. If you didn't like it, give it a dislike. And I'm very sorry. I'll be a guest tomorrow on a show called The Bargain Bin. I'll be at Sugar Chris morning show next Wednesday, and next week Sunday I'll be back with my own show, A Drink with Brink. Same channel, same time, new guest. Hope to see you then, guys. Okay, bye, guys.